Hello students. Today we will be starting with the third chapter in English. This is actually a short story written by William Sidney Porter, whose pen name is O. Henry. He was an American writer whose short stories are known for wit, wordplay, and clever twist endings. He wrote nearly 600 stories about life in America. Some of his famous works are The 4 Millions, The Ransom of Red Chief, The Furnished Room, After 20 Years, Buried Treasure, The Last Leaf, etc. Dear students, have you ever woken up in the morning and thought, I really hope I go to jail today? Yeah, neither have I. For most of us, jail is a place we would like to avoid. But what if it was the nicest and most comfortable place you could imagine? For Soapy, a homeless man and the main character of the short story, The Cop and the Anthem, this is unfortunately the case. The short story, The Cop and the Anthem by O. Henry, covers one night and one morning in the life of a homeless man called Soapy. When it's warm, Soapy lives in Madison Square Park. Now that winter is coming, the park will be too cold. So Soapy decides to do what he's done for several winters, get himself arrested so he can spend the winter in jail. However, he has to try to do everything that is possible in order to get into prison for 3 months to survive the winter. According to Soapy, a prison would be the best place as it would provide him bed to rest and food to eat and protect him against the harsh climate. Hence, he comes up with different creative solutions for dealing with the cold city streets during the harsh climate. However, towards the end of the story, Soapy's goals change drastically and maybe a little surprisingly. Now let us see what are the various efforts Soapy makes in order to get himself caught. The first attempt Soapy makes is to go to an expensive restaurant and have his lunch there. He plans to tell the waiter afterwards that he cannot pay the bill. When Soapy goes into the restaurant, the head waiter has him thrown out directly because of his outer appearance. His pant was torn, his clothes were tattered, his shoes were old, so the head waiter does not allow Soapy to dine in the expensive restaurant. For his second attempt, he throws a stone into a shop window. But this attempt also fails because the policeman doesn't believe that a real lawbreaker would stay still waiting to let him voluntarily be arrested. And instead, when the policeman sees a man running along the road, he assumes that the running man must be the guilty person and arrests him. In the third attempt, Soapy eats in a restaurant and says afterwards that he cannot pay the bill. But the waiter doesn't call the police and he's not interested in Soapy anymore. Hence, he just lets him out of the hotel. Later on, when Soapy discovers a young woman near a policeman, he sees his chance to get into prison. He walks towards the woman in order to harass her, but she behaves as if she wanted to talk to Soapy at the same moment and hangs on to him so much that he must take her off at the next corner. Because all of his attempts fail, Soapy tries another attempt, that is, by yelling and dancing like a maniac on the street in front of a policeman. And he behaves as if he was drunk. But the policeman ignores Soapy because all the policemen had been informed that the students from Yale are celebrating a party that night. And Soapy, he thought is a drunk college guy and he leaves him alone. In his sixth attempt, Soapy namely steals a man's umbrella, but fails again because the man himself had stolen the umbrella from someone else, so he does not inform the police. Disappointed, Soapy starts walking along the road and suddenly he stops in front of a church. He hears a beautiful anthem. Anthem here is a religious hymn that was being played on an organ coming from the church. The atmosphere created by the light shining through the colored windows of the church and also by the organ music to be heard on the road outside the church makes Soapy start thinking about his life. It reminds him of past days when he had family and friends and church. The anthem creates a huge change in Soapy's soul. He realizes that he can have a better life than this. Inspired and feeling empowered, Soapy begins making another plans for future. First thing he needs, a job. Lucky for him, he knew where he can probably get one. Tomorrow, he thought, he will go and get that job and work towards the dreams and goals he used to have. At the same moment, as Soapy decides to start a new life, his thoughts are interrupted by a policeman who comes towards him and arrests him because he is not allowed to stand there. Soapy is finally condemned to 3 months in prison, and he had wanted, that is what he had wanted all the time. Here, dear students, we see that the ending of the story, The Cop and the Anthem, written by O. Henry, is so unfair. Just when Soapy changes his mind about spending his winter in jail, the law closes on him. This is a classic O. Henry twist ending, as we call it. The easiest way to look at the twist ending is like the punchline to a joke. When it's well done, it'll surprise us and maybe make us think about life in a new way. It twists the way we think, the way we imagine. Dear students, I would like you to ponder upon these points at the end of the story. The moral that this story gives us is although all of us do wrong things in life, there are times when we realize what we are doing is wrong. Like how Soapy realized at the end that instead of sitting and thinking of all these plans and running away from the situation, I must accept my life and try my best to make the best of what I have. Try my to work hard towards getting a better life. The important thing is to realize one's mistakes and make efforts to be somebody in the world. As they say, better late than never. Our goals and dreams, our hopes, and our plans for the future might play a big role in determining the course of our lives. So, dear students, as now you're at a very important time in your life, let us think of what we want to make out of this beautiful life that God has given us. So, this is the summary of the story, The Cop and the Anthem. The detailed explanation of the entire lesson will be shared with you soon. Until then, stay home, stay safe. Oh, thank you, Rilla.